So you're moving to the UK, or you're at least thinking about moving to the UK. I'm an American who moved to the UK about 2-ish years ago, 2.5 years ago now, and I'm here to help you make that move. Whether you're chasing new opportunities, studying abroad, or you just want to live in the land of tea, scones, and weather that really can't make up its mind, you're in for an adventure. Today I'll share some tips that save you some stress, embarrassment, and maybe even some money, from housing to healthcare, culture to curry. Here's what you need to know. First things first, finding a place to live. Renting in the UK is, let's just say, competitive. Flats, which is what they call apartments, are typically pretty small, old, and won't have a lot of appliances or luxuries that you might be used to having in the US. You'll often need to pay a deposit equal to about 5 weeks rent, and you'll be asked for a proof of income or a guarantor. Rent is usually quoted weekly. You'll see this when you're scrolling on apartment finding websites like Zoopla or Rightmove, and it'll say PW. So don't get fooled by that price. That's the per week price. You need to look for PCM, which is the monthly price. And even though it's advertised typically by weekly cost, you'll pay your rent monthly. London rent will make your wallet cry. You can check out this video to see how much it exactly costs to live in London in 2025. And if London's too pricey, because let's face it, it's super expensive, consider other cities like Manchester, Birmingham, or Edinburgh, which are cheaper and have great vibes. Pro tip, view places quickly. Good flats disappear in a matter of a few hours. I'm not kidding you. And when you move in, take photos of everything, because landlords love deposit money as much as they love rent. Now let's talk about the National Health Service, or the NHS. Healthcare in the UK is mostly free through the NHS, of course, meaning free is paid by taxes. This means no bills for doctor visits, ER trips, broken bones, but you will need to register with a local GP or general practitioner once you settle in, because you only can register with the GP based on your postcode. So as soon as you do find your place to live, I would do this right away. Don't wait until you're sick, because the system loves paperwork and taking its sweet time for just about everything. So just be ready to go. And just an FYI, waiting times for the NHS can be long. So if you do need something faster, some people use private healthcare on top of the NHS, but for day-to-day stuff, the NHS should be fine. For more information about costs of healthcare, including prescriptions, how to register with a GP, and just like all the information you need to know about the NHS, especially comparing it to the US healthcare if you are coming from the US, check out this video. So to recap, step 1, when you arrive, find your GP and register. Step 2, learn to say paracetamol instead of Tylenol, because that's their cure for everything. The third tip for moving to the UK is mastering the transport system. Public transport in the UK is great if you plan ahead. In London specifically, there is no need to get yourself an Oyster card. Just use contactless payments for buses and the tube. So for the bus, you tap in when you get on the bus, and it's a flat fee of $1.75 no matter how many buses you hop on or off for the next hour. For tubes, you tap in when you enter the station, and then you tap out at the station when you arrive, and the fee will be calculated based on how many zones you traveled across and the time of day that you traveled. Bonus tip, always stand on the right side of the escalator in London. Trust me, you don't want to block people who are sprinting up past you on the left side. So check out this video for more information explaining how the fare charges work, a step-by-step guide on how to take the tube, and just more general info to help you seem like a pro before you even arrive in the UK. Next, we'll talk about trains, which are different from the tube or even the overground within the London's transport system. Trains are all around the UK and connect most cities, so they are super convenient, but they can be really expensive. So book in advance for cheap fares. There are also discount cards like the 16 to 25 rail card or the 2 together rail card if you do plan on traveling with a partner or friend at all times. The rail card is only £30 for the year, and it gives you 30% discounts on every train journey. So if you're planning a few day trips outside of London, it's definitely worth getting. Even if you're just planning one weekend trip up to Edinburgh from London, you'll make that £30 back in savings just from that one train journey, because those train prices between those two cities are crazy expensive. So for more information on rail cards and how to take trains around the UK, check out this video. If you're planning on moving outside of London, buses and trams are going to be your best friend, and hopefully you already know that cars drive on the left-hand side, not the right-hand side. So if you do plan on driving, prepare your brain for roundabouts, narrow country lanes, and parking spaces that are designed for cars the size of toasters. I've only rented a car one time during my time living here to drive from London up to the Lake District, which is a magical National Park. I highly recommend it. It's so gorgeous. But honestly, I don't think I'd ever rent a car again. It was so stressful for me just driving on the other side of the road, dealing with all the roundabouts, and just feeling so tiny in this tiny car on this tiny road. It's just a very different driving experience compared to driving in the United States, that's for sure. The fourth tip for moving to the UK is about money, banking, and costs. The UK uses the pound sterling, and opening a bank account is important for paying rent and bills, of course. Some banks are really strict about proof of address and having a phone number, so if you don't have your apartment or your phone plan set up yet, I would encourage you to set up an online bank first, like Monzo or Revolut. I found one of the most stressful parts about moving to the UK was finding an apartment, like I kind of mentioned in the first point, but on top of this whole experience, I couldn't set up a bank account without having an address, but I couldn't pay the deposit for my apartment without having a bank account. So I was just kind of at this standstill and I didn't really know what to do. So that's when I ended up setting up my Revolut bank account, so I could instantly send money from my US bank account over to the UK with no fees, just so I could pay my rent and my deposit to move in, and then I set up a proper bank account. That's literally the only reason why we got our first apartment. They called us in the morning and they said, okay, you got the apartment, you can move in today, come meet us at noon for the keys. And please send us the deposit before then. So I was just like scrambling all around. This is when we were still living in Brighton, trying to pack up everything, get all of our stuff, book a train ticket, and just get all of that sorted within 3 hours. So I really am glad that I already had the Revolut account set up, or honestly, they probably just would have passed up on us and given the apartment to the next person. I'll put my Revolut referral code in the description below if you're interested in checking that out, just to help you get set up when you first move to the UK, and then after that you can sort out if you want another bank account or not. Now, to venture away from banking specifically, let's talk about cost of living, which varies a lot. London is insanely expensive, but there are smaller cities that are a lot more manageable. Groceries are fairly cheap at places like Aldi or Lidl, especially if you compare them to most big American cities, and pub food can be surprisingly affordable if you find the right spot, but brace yourself for some sticker shock when you first see your heating bill in the winter. The UK loves cozy cottages, but not all of them have really good insulation. Utilities in general are insanely expensive in the UK, plus the extra fees that we don't normally have in the States, like council tax and a TV license, that all start to really add up. The good thing is you will literally never need cash. It's a completely cashless society that has 100% adopted tap to pay. So I have used Apple Pay my entire time living here. Public transportation, grocery, small shops, restaurants, pubs, even like a small coffee cart, everywhere they use it. It's just super convenient. So if you want a detailed breakdown of all of my costs, like rent, utilities, phone plan, groceries, just honestly everything, check out my cost of living in London video here. It will really help you start to get an idea of how much you can afford as you're kind of planning this move. For tip 5, let's talk about culture and social life. British culture might feel familiar and strange at the same time. People are polite, but they won't always say what they mean. For example, if someone says, "That's interesting," they probably mean, "I disagree." If they say, "Not bad," it actually means pretty good. And if they say, "We should grab a pint sometime," well, they might not really follow up with you. It's just the British polite code. Plus, there are tons of words and phrases that might confuse you. Like when they greet you with, "You alright?" they're not insinuating that you look unwell. It's just kind of their equivalent to a "Hey, what's up" in the States. If they invite you to their gaff, don't be freaked out. It's a casual way of saying their house. So yes, we do speak the same language, but there will definitely be tons of words and phrases that might leave you super confused. So be sure to check out this video of all the British slang words and phrases so you don't have to go through the same confusion that I did when I first moved here. The most popular place to socialize is in pubs, so don't be shy about joining colleagues or neighbors out for a pint. Pubs are a lot more casual than a bar back in the States. Tons of families go, even with their little kids, because it's just a more normal place to meet up rather than inviting a bunch of people over to your house, just because houses tend to be a little bit smaller. So if you love to drink, you will definitely fit in well here, because the Brits love their pints. But don't worry, if you're like me and you don't really like to drink, there are tons of other ways to socialize and meet people, like joining a community sports team, club, community event. I can't speak for other cities, but at least in London, there are just things happening all the time around, like even your little community, and you can easily meet people. And as for the food, the UK might not have a reputation for the tastiest food in the world, but they do have some classics that are absolutely worth a try, like fish and chips, bangers and mash, Sunday roast, and all different kinds of pies like shepherd's pie, steak and ale pie, and just so many other variations. But you don't have to focus on British classics. The UK is one of the most multicultural places in the world. That's where I find it really similar to the US. So you'll find amazing Indian curries, Chinese takeaways, Middle Eastern kebabs, and just everything in between. It's amazing. And of course, get ready for the weather. One of the most common misconceptions that I talked about in my lies about the UK video is that it just rains 24/7. I feel like every Hollywood movie you ever see about London, it just pans to this gray, rainy shot of Big Ben. And after living here for 2.5 years, I can honestly say it's not all rain, but it is pretty gray, at least compared to what I'm used to in California. The weather in the UK in general is extremely unpredictable, so always wear layers and never trust the forecast. I can't tell you how many times the weather app told me that it wasn't gonna rain that day, and it was currently raining, like as I was on my morning walk. So those are my top tips for moving to the UK. Finding housing quickly, registering with the NHS, learning the transport system, managing your money wisely, and embracing the culture. Moving countries can be overwhelming, but the UK is full of opportunities, history, and some of the funniest people you'll ever meet. And like I alluded to in almost every point in this video, because I've been living here for a few years now, I have so many videos about moving to the UK that are aimed to be as helpful as possible for anyone thinking about moving or honestly even just visiting the UK. I bet nearly all of your questions you have about this big move across the pond could be answered in at least one of my videos in my UK playlist. And if for some reason it's not, comment down below and I'll make a video to answer your question and hopefully help more people feel more comfortable about making this big move. Now let's take a look at why I moved to the UK from the US in the first place.